It seems to me that the argument that we're dealing with kind of comes down to the statement that Christ makes: "I am the truth, I am the light." And the question is Christ only theological truth? Or is he also 2 + 2 = 4 truth?
Well, Jesus was saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. And I hear this a lot, and people throw that in my face to say, no one else has any truth, and no one else is going to heaven, and no one else is dealing with God. But I think it depends on how you hear the voice of Jesus speaking. Was he talking in a voice that was saying, you're not going to get there unless you join our club?
Mm-hmm.
No one gets there unless you join our club. Or was he saying, by the time you get to the throne of God, you've got to go through sacrifice, you've got to go through justice, you've got to go through forgiveness, you've got to go through mercy and humor and everything else. And he's saying, I am that way. I am that truth. I am that life that takes you through there. No one gets from here to there unless you go through that. Was his voice saying, you're not going to heaven unless you're a member of our club? Or was he saying that there is a path, and I'm showing you the path? You have to get inside me and inside that path. So that's what I think.
Questioning yourself. I mean, questioning your own motives. All of us have looked around at someone and said, I wish they'd just wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, and it seems to me that that's the problem.
Right.
The problem is that how do you get someone to wake up?
Right.
And that was I think the thing that Jesus was working on was how do you get people to see the kingdom of heaven? That the thing that has no words, that's larger than its capacity to be spoken, that it attempts at speaking. If you want to bring it down to an image, isn't that kind of the basis of the sin of idolatry? To create an image of God, even if that image is the Bible?
Right. So that the Bible becomes God, or anything becomes God. I think all of us who are religious,
mm-hmm.
There are moments where the bush burns for us. And the temptation is not just to see God through the bush, but to begin to worship the bush. And all of us have been guilty of idolatry. You just got to stick with it and grow beyond it, or grow through it, so that it's a great thing that the bush burned.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only a burning bush. It is God on the other side. You were talking about speaking, and a couple of months ago we were working in South America, and we had people in small groups, and there was one fellow from an indigenous tribe who has his own spirituality, which is pantheism. And after 3 days, he didn't say a word. And we said, why didn't you talk for the 3 days? And he said, well, I'm sitting here with 2 Christian missionaries at the same table. And he said, in my tribe, in my village, my father and my grandfather were the great spiritual speakers and leaders. And the missionaries said, you must shut up and never speak about the Great Spirit, the way you speak in terms of being in a river or in a tree or something like that. So my father and my grandfather kept talking, so the Christians cut their tongues out. And he said, and now I've come to this conference, and I'm sitting at a table with 2 missionaries, and you want me to speak?
And that is so horrible.
It is horrible. We haven't taken that in yet. I mean, for what we do in the name of God.
I have a few friends that have actually Catholic missionaries, been to places in the Pacific, etc. And I have noticed this worldwide, that no matter where you export Christianity to, even when it takes root, there are certain things, characteristics of it, or personalities of it that change. I mean, Roman Catholicism, the way it's practiced, for instance, in South America, does not look anything like European Catholicism. I mean, it at the root, same scripture, same mass, same everything. But the image systems and the things that the people seem to fixate on is so different. And I think, by everybody's standards, for instance, the Pope's standards, the Church's standards, these people are Catholics and they're practicing good Catholicism. But yet they've allowed a certain local change of the image to happen. He found, for instance, that when he went to talk, this priest that I'm talking about, when he went to talk to Aborigines, he realized that in order for them to completely come on board with his Western-style teachings, that he almost had to electrify their houses and buy them refrigerators, because the logic process left nothing for their primitive lifestyle, and that it seemed and he realized at some point that what he was also exporting was first world morality and economics. And it shook him to his toes when he realized that that in order for him to toe the line the way he thought it needed to be towed, that these people were going to have to develop in the Western style, and he found that whole idea abhorrent. But these changes, no matter how they happen, you need to be open to what's going on around you. You can build an outdoor church in Alaska, but nobody's going to come to it.
That's right. Maybe some dog sleds.
Maybe.
Yeah. In terms of our basic purpose, we said to promote daily enduring interfaith cooperation, to end religiously motivated violence, and to create cultures of peace, justice, and healing for the earth and all living beings. In regard to this last issue of creating cultures, early on, it dawned on us that we'll never be able to create a hierarchy with one table and a few important people at the table. We decided that we would go into the world and create multiple tables, thousands of tables, tens of thousands of tables, called cooperation circles. And people all over the world can come together around the purpose and principles of the United Religions, and they can meet around any issue, any activity, at any scale, in any place in the world. Therefore, it's going to be locally rooted. When we started, we looked at the United Nations model, which is up here. I went around the world and talked with the Pope and the Shankaracharyas and the chief rabbis and Archbishop of Canterbury and grand muftis and all kinds of people. And it was very clear that they're not going to get together. So we went down to the grassroots, and we find people all over the world saying, well, we can work around the environment. We can work around spirit healing. We can work around AIDS in Africa. So we have cooperation circles all over the world that look very local. The one thing that holds them all together is that they are abiding by the purpose and the principles, and then they can take off in any direction they want from there.
That's very interesting. And we're going to be talking about the URI specifically, the URI's formation, its agenda, when we come back in the next episode.